Hello everybody. Well, thank you so much for those of you that has helped over the last few days. And I'm happy to tell you, well, I think I'm happy to tell you that we had a food delivery of alfalfa and also our weekly delivery of tibbon from the market. And that all in all came to about £2,500. So that's the cost of feeding animals. Some people have said, if they've seen an injury, oh, it'd be better to euthanize. And some very wise person mentioned on Instagram that people often choose the euthanization method because it's cheaper. Of course it's cheaper. If I can get the anesthetic and the animal's gone, I don't have the cost of the medical care, the ongoing staff costs, etc., etc. And then this morning, I had a message. I think it came in the form of a post. And really, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. And I'm going to read it to you to make sure I get it absolutely right. This is what I was told. I think you do a really good job with the majority of your equines, but there are some where the kindest thing would be to euthanize. The donkey on the left looks like he's walking on fetlock joint instead of the hoof. It would be amazing if they'd all be saved, but quality of life must take priority. How kind of someone in the middle of England who has horses to give us such advice. So the advice I am taking is from all of you who've said, block these people. I've checked, never has a donation been made. So you are right, because it just gets me more and more angry. But I think I have a solution. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But of course, what people don't realise is there are 2 or 3 important factors. Firstly, as I've said, we can't always get the medication to euthanize. It is in limited supply here in Morocco, and it has to be saved, obviously, for those where it is really desperate. And during the pandemic, we had to watch horses die because we couldn't get hold of the relevant medication, and you're not allowed to shoot equines here in Morocco in that way. You know, the authorities could shoot dogs, but we can't shoot equines, but never mind. So that's one point. Secondly, these animals have had a life that people couldn't even begin to contemplate. I know that in the UK and Ireland and Wales, the Donkey Sanctuary do amazing work saving animals, often who've been kept in impoverished conditions, dreadful conditions. But not only do our donkeys and mules have to go through that, they are very often beaten and worked till their last breath every day of their lives. And when they arrive here, if they have a broken hoof and we can make it comfortable and it has painkillers and the vet said it will be okay, it's not in pain, we know that they have an experience of being loved and cared for, and sometimes we have to put them down later, but they don't go straight from the misery of the streets to meet their maker. And thirdly, whilst we're on about disability, some of you may remember, it must be over 3 years ago now, I stupidly lost a finger. That was by handling a difficult donkey badly on my part, and he bit the finger off. It was connected. I feel it to this day. It drives me crazy. I'd rather not have the finger, but I carry on and life goes on. I would rather be alive. And you remember that just a year ago, I broke my hip. So I limp a little because I didn't do my exercises properly. I have a long titanium strip from my hip down through my upper thigh. And yes, I suffer a disability, but I have the right to live, and so do these animals. Of course we don't keep them if they're suffering and there's no hope. But there's this great hang-up about disability that, it's okay for humans, but not for animals. Well, you're wrong. And then what's my solution going to be? Because I don't give up. I am going to block these people in future. But I have a few years left in me before I go and meet my maker. And perhaps I have a few years left in me when I can still speak with some degree of common sense and eloquence. And what I would like to do is maybe this year I don't want this to sound grand, but it would be wonderful to go and talk to some groups in the UK, face to face, deal with their questions. So I'm saying to you out there, if you know horsey groups who would be interested in having someone come and speak to them, I'm not charging for that, I can do that while I'm in the UK. Or if there's anyone who would be interested where you could get folk together, I think that's a very good way of getting the word out. We're very much hoping, I don't want to say too much at the moment, but there is quite a famous film crew coming here in the new year, and hopefully they will tell the story of Georgia on television. Because it isn't just about our fame. I mean, I couldn't care less about that. Terribly admiring of the men who work here. They can run this place now if I'm in England for a while. I think what's terribly important is changing attitudes, and attitudes towards the countries where working animals still work and where they're left, and how we can make their lives better, and the lives of the people who work with them and look after them. So I hope you're with me on that. Any suggestions, of course, I'm very happy to receive them. Oh, and by the way, I really don't mind people expressing an opinion. Everyone is entitled to an opinion, but I'm also entitled to answer that opinion. And there are ways of expressing an opinion. It could be, for example, oh, you do an amazing job with the equines. I do worry a little about those with injured legs. People have done that. And I answer, and we have a dialogue going. But don't tell me what to do unless you're here and live through it and walk in my shoes for just a day. So on that happy note, goodbye, and thank you everyone who has enabled us to get as far as we can. The regular donations, so many from the States as well. And we really do owe you one. Thank you.